everybody, this is Teresa Swan. Today is the anniversary of my beautiful mum dying 19 years ago, on the 12th of December, which was a huge shock to me and my dad and brother, and it was the worst time in my life. But 19 years on, I've learnt so much. It was when my mum died that it really opened my eyes to the spirit world, and I saw my mum. She died on the Sunday, and on the Thursday went to see her in the funeral home, and I just knew she'd gone. And people might say, oh yes, because she died, but no, it was so clear to me and my dad that that was an empty vessel, and that's what really started me wondering about the spirit world, and then of course talking to my mum in spirit. I'd never done that with my nans and granddads. I didn't know to do that then, but so my mum dying opened my eyes up to the other world out there. And also 19 years on, I feel very differently about death. And this year my lovely dad passed away on the 29th of April, and you know, he was my best friend, and I feel very different about him dying because I've grown so much in that 19 years, spurred on by my mum dying. And I know that when someone dies, it's not about, of course you're sad, aren't you? Everyone, well, you are if you love them, don't you? Not necessarily, if you don't, you aren't. But so it is very sad, but it's also not, because it's a celebration of life. And I had already started, well, about 5 years ago, to practice gratitude. And so when my dad was ill, I was, well, before he was even diagnosed actually, I was always grateful for him still being here, for him seeing him as much as we did every week, and coming round for dinner. And you know, so when he died, I was doing exactly the same. I was so grateful to have him in our lives so long, because he died, he was 83, my mum was 58 when she died. And so that's what I wanted to say, really. You know, it's about practicing gratitude for them having had them in your life, for them teaching you things about life. They might not realise they have done, but if you think about your life with them, they have taught you things even though they don't realise they did and you didn't realise at the time. And often it's things about yourself. This is a picture of my mum with my oldest son, who used to always have red cheeks when he was little. I've only just noticed for the first time ever looking at this picture, our first dog is in the picture, just caught in the picture there. That's Jade. She passed away when she was 15, bless her. She was a mad dog, loved thunder and lightning. My mum was a beautiful lady, and she adored Lee, and you know, she died. He's about 3 there. I believe he's about 3 there, so she died when he was 4, so she wasn't alive much longer after that. And this is a picture of my dad with my 2 children, and that's Joe Cole from West Ham. This is my dad. This would be in the 2nd year after my mum died, and I had my youngest son Zach in the year the year after my mum died. I don't know how that happened. Of course I do know how it happened, but I was in shock for such a long time, and then thinking all the sorts of things I used to think, like I should have gone round there, I should have been there on that day. I saw my mum weekly, but I wished I'd been able to drive then, so that I could have gone round there, because she phoned up and said she felt so ill. My dad was with her, she wasn't on her own, but I wished I'd gone round there, but I couldn't have changed anything. And also, of course, that view has changed because I've spoke to so many people about death, and people I've worked as a carer, and I've been with people when they've died, and I've been very honoured to be there, you know, with the people when they die. But a lot of people actually want to be on their own when they die. So I've changed my view totally about that. I would have liked to have been there with my mum, because that was probably created to happen like that, because my mum did want to be on her own. And a lot of people, when their relatives in hospital, it's after they've been told they can go, you know, the nurses sort of suggest so you can go home, they'll be fine. They die, don't they? Or the relative themselves tells their daughter, son, grandchildren to go home, that they, you know, they'll see them the next day, and they often die when they're on their own. And that's because a lot of people are seeing different things, aren't they? Seeing the spirits, guides, their relatives, and maybe they actually do want to do that on their own. So maybe that's why my mum went on her own. But that's what happened. But they're reunited now, and I'm very, again, grateful to have them in life. I'm grateful they're back together. Of course, we all were lovely family and friends. And I'm also very grateful that, of course, I can see them now. Which, when my mum died, I couldn't see her in spirit, but now I can. So I know they're not very far away. So that's what it's about. It's about celebrating that person you've had in your life. You know, so for years afterwards, on this date of when my mum died, I used to get, you know, very sad. But up until I've been doing this video, I haven't felt like that at all, because I've been smiling, saying, you know, thank you for being my mum. Thank you for being in our life. I was talking to my youngest son about this week, and my mum was riddled with arthritis, and she was in so much pain. I don't know if you can see her hands there. That hand, see, is twisted up. She was absolutely riddled with it, and doctors didn't have a clue what to do, and they don't have much more clue this year now, do they? Because there is a lot you can do for it now. I always knew there was an inner know. I had an inner knowing there was something that could be done for my mum's arthritis, but couldn't put my finger on it because I didn't have the internet then, or only just the internet had come out. Still didn't know then, wouldn't have known then to look up health things and people who've cured their own arthritis. But there is so much more you can do for that now, and you know, I knew I could help my mum, but I just didn't know what it was that could do for it. Now, you know, it's information, and it's the food you eat and the thoughts you have that create it. But we didn't know that then. Well, my mum, you know, some lot of people still don't believe that now, but that is it. That's my mum's twisted hand, and she didn't want to live. Because not that she didn't want to live. I don't mean she used to talk about killing herself. She didn't. But she used to go in hospital a lot, and she used to see people that were in bed all the time, and she said to me one day, I don't want to be like that. And so perhaps she died at 58 because she was saying that. She was saying, I don't want to be here in that state. She meant she didn't want to be stuck in bed with people coming in washing her, and she would consider that as no life, and she said, I don't want to be like that. She said that once when we were in hospital to me, and I don't know if my dad ever knew that, but or my brother, but that's what she said. So maybe she talked to God and asked him to take her sooner. But celebrate those that are in your life that you love. They're never very far away, and there's so much evidence of that, isn't there, that spirit is around us. But I teach my children that, so my youngest son has talked a lot, you know, been upset about not having any nans and granddads. He's got one in Scotland, the other one in-laws, but he doesn't see him, so you know, it's about celebrating those times you've had with them and forgiving people, all people in your life that have hurt you by things they've said or done, but also saying sorry in your mind. You don't. People say, oh, you can't do that now they've passed away. You can forgive them for anything they've said to you that's hurt you, and say sorry to them for things that you've said or not done. You know, you can do that. But this day is a great memory because we went to the West Ham training ground. That's Joe Cole. He used to play for West Ham, and you stood up at the fence, and as you can see, he's signing my son's autograph book, and that's what happened. I think you can still do that, go to the training grounds, but the players that came up to us were extremely friendly, very polite, and very, you know, happy to sign the kids' autographs because, you know, they're their fans, aren't they? Not all footballers, by the way, do that, because there was quite a few, can't remember who they were now, who walked straight past and weren't interested. And these are only children, you know, those children have gone to see their, you know, their team that they love as players. And it's great that West Ham allowed us to do that, but that is a great memory, that day. And we did that a few times with my dad, and that was a great memory. My dad didn't look that much different to that. He was 6 years older than my mum, so she was 58, so he was about 68 then. He lived to 83, and he didn't look that much different to that at all. So he had a good life. And after my mum died, you know, I encouraged him to go out a lot more and to meet new people, and he did. And he joined a club, and he met so many people. So it's about celebrating your life, not thinking about what you didn't do, what they did, what they didn't do. It's about thanking for having them in your life, because even if you've had bad parents, they've taught you something. You have become the person you are because of the life you had with them. So I don't curse my parents, because as far as I'm concerned, I do great childhood in the last year or so, because I think about so many things and I work out so much in my head. I've realised that certain things happen certain things, it's my fault, because we're responsible for ourselves, aren't we? But different things that happened when I was a child, you know, the things that parents say, I would never answer back really. But I've realised, because of things that were said to me, my mum wasn't nasty at all. It was just things they would say to you that well, perhaps they thought they were guiding you, but actually I realise now we're wrong. So I'm trying, and well, I'm not. I'm just not doing these things. Like my mum, bless her, thought that when I would left school, that you know the idea was that I should go out and meet someone. When I was quite happy, I went to work all week. Well, you know, Monday to Friday, I would have been quite happy to stay at home and sit in my bedroom, watch telly, and go out with my friends. But I got that notion into my head because my mum had planted that seed that, oh, I've reached that age, I'm supposed to go and find someone. So I do joke about that perhaps I wouldn't have got married if my mum hadn't planted that seed in my head. Of course, I could have spoke up and said, no, I don't want to. No. So people passing away, there's lots of funny moments like that, but I have thought that, would I have actually gone, I would have waited, see. So although we don't have arranged marriages in the West, amongst white people, we do, they do actually still do that. They don't go and look for someone for you, but they do suggest that, oh, shouldn't you be getting engaged now? Shouldn't you be getting married? Shouldn't you be having babies now? So I'm not going to do that with my children, and I haven't done that. And my oldest one is now 23, and the little one is 18, and I have not done that with them. I have not suggested they find girlfriends. I have not suggested they get married, and when are they going to bring me grandchildren. If I ever have grandchildren one day, that's absolutely fine. But I am not going to push people into having them, because I enjoy my life as it is, with myself. You know, that's the secret to happiness in life, is to love yourself unconditionally, and then anything else you get is a bonus, but not expect other people to make your happiness. Well, thank you all for listening. Love your relatives, enjoy your Christmas, and you know, spend time with those that you love. If you can't spend time with those that you love, phone them. Don't text them or email them, phone them, because that's what it's about, isn't it? It's actually speaking and listening to what they're saying. And you know, if you want to, tell them you love them. If you can't say that out loud, say it in your head to them. And of course you can do that to your family and spirit. I do that every day, every single day. Well, thank you all for listening. Goodbye.